Hello, everybody. I'm Christine Jones, and I guess I'm kind of your accidental Canva tutor. So, what does that mean? That means that I am not an expert at Canva. I just happen to know a few things that I think might be helpful to you. So, today we're going to briefly look at how to create checkboxes in case you want to create a list for someone and you want to give them the ability to check off various boxes to indicate that they have certain things done or that they have accomplished certain tasks. Okay? Now, that being said, you might find someone who says that, there was a better way to do that. And you know what? They might be right. I don't know everything there is to know about Canva or anything else for that matter. But I'm only going to show you what I know works for me, and I hope you find it useful. Okay? So, if once again you hear noise in the background, yes, I have my windows open and I am enjoying the breeze. But that does come along with a wayward goat or car every now and then. Okay? All right. Now, if you watched the previous video, then I kind of gave you a full walk around of pretty much everything that's showing on the screen. I'm not going to do that again, but if you need to see that, please watch the previous video. It's called Canva Unlocked. Okay? I'm going to go up here to create a design, because I want to create a new design. So let's go there. Okay. Now, for purposes of what we're going to do, I'm simply going to pick a Facebook post because that's going to give me the dimensions that I want. If I chose something else that's in this list, it would give me different dimensions. But I'm going to choose Facebook post. All right. Now, you can see that Facebook post opened out into a lot of different templates. Okay, there's a myriad of templates, and we're not going to use any of them right now. Also, you'll see that here and here, there's the title. So you can see that it's a Facebook post, but it's an untitled design. I can change the title right here. So for purposes of this particular video, I'm going to name this test. All right, and as you can see, it immediately changed up here. Now, I have a blank space here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create just a little bit of design. Even though we're working on checkboxes, you really don't want something terribly bland. So we're going to give just a little bit of design, but trust me, I am not the best designer in the world. I am not a graphic designer at all. And you might say, that's a little boring. Okay, I'm just showing you some possibilities. So I'm going to go over here to Elements, and I'm going to pick a grid. Now, I do talk about these grids in the previous video, but these grids allow you to be able to put them in a space, and then a picture will actually take up as much space as they do. So what do I mean by that? I'll show you quickly. I'm going to end up using this one, this square one, but for purposes of understanding what I mean by it, a picture will take up the space that they give it, I'm going to just choose this one. Okay, now watch this. I'm going to go up here to photos. I'm just going to pick a picture. If I just click the picture, it's going to flop itself right in the middle of the screen. So that's not what we want to do. I can either undo, or I could have hit the trash can symbol. Let's just keep it simple. I want to drag this particular picture over to one of the spaces. So I'm going to click and drag, and look at that. Now you see how it didn't go over here because it's a split screen. But let's say that I want something in this space. So I can actually put another of that same person, or I can just slide this. Now you see when I slid it over, it first fit itself into this space. That's fine. All I did was kept sliding. All right. Now you have pictures that will fit into the space that the grid gave it. If for some reason you want a different part of the picture showing, click the picture and you can slide it over a little bit. Okay. Maybe you want a different part of the picture. Maybe you don't want the person in there at all. You just wanted the office space. Okay. You see that? We're done with it and we have the office space. So those are the types of things that you can do. Now, why did I say all that? Because I'm going to show you how you can create other looks with that particular feature. So I'm actually going to click this and click the trash can, and I'm going to delete the entire grid. Now, if I delete the image, I'm going to take it one picture at a time. If I delete the entire grid, I'm going to be back to my blank space. So I want this grid here. Now, I'm going to go over here to Photos, and I'm going to grab something blue. I already had typed something blue, so here's the actual blue that I'm going to use. I'm going to use that for right now, but you'll probably see me type something blue again, and then that'll show you how I got to this picture. But anyway, I'm going to click and slide it over, and it fit beautifully in that space. Now I'm going to repeat this for a certain effect. I'm going to click grid again. So I'm pretty sure you're saying, why did she just do that? I'm going to show you. Now, for those who were not able to see the previous video, if I adjust any of these circular areas at the corners, I'm going to adjust the size of the picture as a whole, but I won't disturb or distort the dimensions of the picture. Okay, so I'm going to actually undo and make it full again. If, however, I go to any of these little center rectangles, then you can make the picture smaller or larger, but you can also distort or remove certain elements of the picture. So just keep that in mind. But for right now, I just want to manipulate just a little bit so that I have what looks like a frame. That's going to mean when I do my next little trick that the picture is going to fit right in here. It won't fit out here in the frame part. Let's go back over here to Photos. Here's where I'm going to choose blue again. And scroll down. I'm going to choose this here. I'm going to slide it right over. Ah, look at that. Now, I'm going to go back. I'm going to choose Elements again. Click that same grid. And this time, I think you're getting the picture, right? This time, I'm going to make it just a little bit smaller. And now I'm going to go for a white background. Here's what I did though. If you saw, I just chose white and I didn't come out of Elements. If you're looking for elements, you're going to see all these different white elements. I should have gone to Photos. Here we go. So now I'm back in Photos. I chose white and I dragged white over. All right, now as you can see, it's not the most decorative thing, but it does give you something other than a blank screen or page for the little list that you're trying to create. I'm actually going to simply show you what I can do if I want to add my logo, because I guess I'm thinking that you might want to use this for your business, and typically with something like this you're going to have your logo on. So when it comes to things like logos, those are not in the system. Only pictures that are in the system will be in Photos. If you have something like your logo that you want to be in the system, you have to go to Uploads, and then you can upload any image or video that you have. I've already uploaded my logo, but here's what I need to do. You see, and I'm doing this for a reason, so I want to show you this. I want to get my logo here, but I don't want it to take the entire page. So watch something. When I click this, okay, now I could drag it and make it smaller, okay? But you see, as soon as I move it, it fills the entire screen. That's not what I want. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to copy this page just because we may flip back to this one. I'm going to copy this page and I'm going to take Mr. Logo out, okay? What I'm going to do is actually show you another feature. Since I have the grid over here, I'm going to duplicate the grid. That way, watch what I do. I make the grid smaller, and I give myself enough space maybe to put my logo in. And as you can see, I'm kind of moving it around because I'm waiting for this that red, almost fuchsia, I guess, line to come through, and that's going to show me my center mark. So that's going to let me know that I'm right in the middle of the page vertically. Okay, now when I put my logo, drag my logo over, now I can fit it right in that space. Okay, and if I feel like it needs to have a little bit more space, I can drag it out and then make it smaller. I hope you're catching all this. These are things that I can go over at another time. I'm just showing you how I'm getting to a certain point because the purpose of this is the check marks. Now, you see I have still a grid here. Now I'm going to fill that grid with the white background. And you see how I have my logo there. All right. Now we need to add something to this page so that we can begin to create our list. So let's go over here to text, and I'm just going to choose one of these areas to sort of write. If you choose heading, it's going to be the size of a heading, and then perhaps you have already chosen some kind of font in your brand. And I talked about that before. I won't get into that right now. You can see that in the previous video, but that's what that's about. But it doesn't matter because you can actually change what it is that you do with the font, the size, the color of your writing, everything. So I'm just going to choose this. I'm going to go up here. I have Pearson set in, but for this, I think I want courgette. Okay. And I'm going to keep it the black colored here. If I wanted to change that, I could simply go up here and change it. It's letting me know it's at black, but if I wanted to change it to blue, I could actually do that. Okay, but I'm going to keep it at black, so I'm going to undo it. Now I'm going to go in here and I'm going to start typing something, and this is just a for instance. So all right. Now, to make sure that you are ready for our credit analysis consultation, please make sure that you have completed the following tasks. Now, this is where we are getting ready to start our list with our checkboxes. But what I'm going to put here is not something that you need to actually do for your business. This is just a for instance. So don't think, well, oh, I would have added this step or I would have done that. I'm not doing this for, shall I say, functionality of the list. I'm simply showing you how to create the check boxes. And I just wanted to put some sort of list there so that you would see how it would, actually operate. Okay, so I have this here. Now we're going to create our checkbox. I'm going to go back into Elements. I'm going to actually clear out of this. Now, you can see something's recently used, but I want to show you where I got that from. Okay, so I went down here. You see where it says Shapes. Now, I want to go down here. And you see, when you see these different shapes, right? And this is another square. It's just rounded on the corners. But when you see these shapes, what this is going to mean is that these shapes with the sort of black centers, the black centers are actually going to be sort of vacant space when we put it on the screen. But you will be able to manipulate the colors of the grayish area. So let me show you what I mean. I want a checkbox that's just a standard square right now. So I'm going to click on the square. It popped onto the screen. Now, if you notice, it's blue. I could keep it that way, but if I don't want to, I'm going to go up here to color and I'm going to change it to black. Now, I bet you're saying, well, wait a minute though. I don't want that size checkbox. You're not going to have one. Watch what I do. I'm going to grab the corner. I'm going to stop it there because sometimes once it gets small enough to hide inside of the words, it gets a little difficult to move. I mean, you can move it, but you just have to go through a little bit more. So I moved it down a little bit, and now I'm going to drag the corners until I get a small text box. Now watch this. You see how I pulled it? I'm going to undo that because sometimes when you're pulling it, it distorts while you're pulling it. No biggie. Just go and undo it. Now I have a checkbox. Look at that. Okay. If I want to now write something alongside of that, then I'm going to go back to my text, grab another area for text, and looks like I picked up two down here. Sometimes when you put the text there, you never know where that actual wording is going to end up. So I'm just going to take this second one and remove it. Okay, now I want to get back to the same font that I had up here, so I'm just going to change that. I'm just going to grab all of that, highlight it, and go up here and give it the one that I had. And let's just create some sort of first step. Okay, now what I typed was, please read and sign the disclosures and contract. Now, just going to leave it there. There's more that if I were actually doing this for my company, more that I would say. But for right now, I am keeping it here. Now, I have a nice text box, and I have or text area, and now I have a nice checkbox. Now, as you can see, I am judging where I want this text. And if you notice, this text rectangle up here, it says it's centered. So right now I kind of want to, it's not going to look much different, but there's a reason why I want it to come away from centered, and that is because you have this extra space here, which sometimes gets in the way when you're trying to move it. Because if I wanted to do something with this text box or this checkbox, it would be difficult because the box that the text is in is overlapping it. So I just kind of want to go up here, and now you see how the words went to the edge of this. So now I can pull this over. Okay, if you didn't catch what I just did, I will do it again for you. Okay, so let me backtrack. I'm going to undo. Okay, and you see how the P in please, if I drop this down, there's a whole lot of space between the edge of this and the P in please. I don't want all of that space, because if I need to make any adjustments with the box that I have here, like I might want to make that smaller, right? I couldn't do that if all of this dead space was overlapping with this checkbox. So what I want to do when I see this, I know to look up here, and this tells me about alignment. Well, if you have middle alignment, you're going to have this dead space because they're centering it for you. I want to make it left aligned or justified. So I push that, and you see how everything is on the left, and you see how the words just kind of went to the edge of the left side. That's what I want. Now I don't have all of that dead space over there. I don't really care about dead space on the right because I don't have anything on the right. I just want this area here. So if I need to adjust the size of the checkbox, I can do that. Now, I'm going to make it easy on myself. I am not going to make another checkbox and try to get the same size, etc. So what I'm going to do is go up here to the duplicate area. Now you might see something that looks similar here. This one is copy page. This one is duplicate. Okay, so if you want to duplicate something, you hit this area here. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to highlight the text box, or the check box I should say, and duplicate it. Now I'm going to move it down. So I'm going to click the screen and then re-click the box, because sometimes if you don't do it that way, it stretches out the box and then you have to undo, like you might have seen me do earlier, and it almost made a rectangle out of it. It distorts it sometimes if you don't clear out what you had been doing. Now I have another checkbox. I'm going to then click this area here, and I'm going to duplicate this. Oh, now you see what I did? I did not make it clear what I wanted to duplicate, so it thought that I wanted to duplicate the white area here. So I'm going to just get rid of that. I want to duplicate this box here. So if I don't wait until I see this little area here where I can manipulate the size of the text box, then it's going to assume that I want the background duplicated. So I want this duplicated. I'm going to go here. Now you see. And I don't have to do anything with justification of the sides, because since I did it up here, it's already pressed up against that edge. All right. So now I don't want to keep that wording. I want to add something else. So I'm going to highlight and then begin typing something else. All right, enroll in Identity IQ monitoring services next. Now, I'm just giving you again 4 instances. So let's just keep it going. I'm going to go back over here, get another text box, click out of it, and then click it again so that it will go where I want it to go. And as you can probably see now, I don't want to move the cursor because it'll lose what I'm trying to show you. But as you can see right here, you'll see some lines that are going across and through the check boxes. And that is because they're letting me know that my new box is perfectly in line with the other 2. So that's what I want. Now I'm going to go back here and I'm going to duplicate this, bring it down, and I'm going to type in the next thing. Now, I could have just changed the way these words were located, or changed where they were located by doing this, because as you saw, I dropped down with the word with into another line, because as I was typing it went over here. But as you can see, I could have easily just fixed that, and what it would have done was made the words move. So I'm going to just show you what that means. I'm going to pretend that I don't want the word along here, and I'm just going to squeeze it over, and look how it just dropped it down to the other line. Okay, and of course you don't want that look. You would want to have with up here with the word along. I'm just showing you what happens if you adjust these little marginal areas. Okay, now that is my third thing. I'm going to just put a fourth thing just because I feel like showing you again. And I'm going to click onto the checkbox, get another checkbox, click out, click it again, and then drag it down. It is where I need it to be. Now, I don't want to have my fourth, task to have 2 lines, because it doesn't need that. So I'm going to grab one that doesn't have 2 lines, duplicate it, drop it down past everything else, and then I'm going to just put it in. Now, whoops, it wants to say your. All right. Now, as you can see, I have a set of directions here, and I have what I want people specifically to do as it pertains to those directions. And you have checkboxes here. So if you were to print this out, people could just check it off. Now, there is a way, which I am not going to show you in this because you're going to need to go into a different system, but there is a way where you can have these turned into areas that you can actually type into. Okay, that's a slightly different system, so we want to keep it simple for this time, but we can talk about those things at another time. Now I'm going to actually duplicate the page because I want to show you a variation. So I just duplicated the page. I know it was quick, but now you can see. What if you did not want squares? What if you wanted sort of like a diamond type of look? Well, you could actually click on one of these, and you see this little area where you sort of get this curved area. You can actually change the direction of this little square. And if you want the diamond effect, you want that number to be at 45 degrees. Okay? You see that? So we could have all those diamonds and just wait till that number gets to 45 degrees, and you'll have perfect diamond shapes. Okay? You might want your text boxes to look like that. You also might want to do something completely different. I'm going to create another page, and I'm actually going to get rid of all of the diamonds. Oh no, look what I did. I'm going to undo that. Now, let's go into elements, and let's pick up this circle. Okay? Now, again, I can change the color if I want to. Maybe I don't want to this time, so let's just leave it. And I have a circle here. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller, then bring it down a little bit, and then I'm going to make it much smaller. Maybe you want to have circular areas that people can put check marks in. That is also fine. I keep hitting that the wrong way, and it keeps giving me a full screen effect that is duplicated. But again, we will survive that. This time I've got the correct shape, and I'm just going to grab another, click out, click it again, And you see what I keep doing? I am getting on my own nerves. Okay, just undo. In Canva, you can undo things, so it's not even that big of a deal. But when I'm showing you something, I don't want to keep doing that. All right. Now, I have circular areas. It is perfectly fine to do that, okay? Now, some of you may be saying, well, how come she's not showing us these up here? Well, here's the deal. If I show you these, and I can show you one, it doesn't really matter. If I show you these, because these are fully gray, that whole area is going to have color if I move it. With these, only the gray area had color and it was just a shell. So let's just show you how that'll look. Okay. Let me bring it down. Oops. Let me grab this to make it somewhat similar in size to the one we have. And you see how it has color here? But if I click onto that, you see how these gray areas end up here? So now watch what happens. Okay, so you could actually make a different color. If I go here and duplicate that, then I could change this maybe to this color blue, and I could change this to purple or something like that. Okay, so you can choose what you want. It's just that when you go into elements, you want to actually go into the shapes section. And typically with checkboxes, you do see the sort of open space in the center, but it's okay if you choose something that allows you to actually add color. It's fine. And then you have all of these different shapes to choose from. So there's nothing stopping you from doing that. It's just that, if you want to stay within the standard format, then you probably will choose the open center. But if you don't, go ahead and have a ball and add your color. I'm going to actually stop there because this is the only thing that I was intending to show you this time. Of course, there are tons more things that we can show, and we probably will show a lot more of them. But I hope you were able to get something from this. Again, I'm Christine Jones, probably your accidental Canva tutor, and I'll talk to you at another time. Bye-bye.